Good morning. A little video today about router tables. I made a new top for my router table over the weekend. I'm going to talk about why I did it and how I did it briefly. I use as my router table an old MFT800. This is an MFT table that Festool no longer make, but I've used it as a router table base for many years now. And in that router table, let's have a look. I use the CMS system. This is a system of metal plates that you can place inside the this Festool CMS basis system. I don't have the table, I just have the plate. I picked this up in England many years ago when it was not for sale in North America. And I use this router plate in an insert that I've made here. Now I used to use, let me just move this out of the way. I originally used the MFT top that it came with. This is about 5/8 inch thick MDF, and I routed out the insert, as you can see, different thicknesses. The insert is has different levels of thickness as you go around it. So it's about 7 mil thick here, about 5 mil here, and about 18 mil at the back. So it's quite a tricky job. Anyway, I used to have an OF2200 router in this insert. That's the medium-sized router that Festool sell. And it worked fine, but I sold it and I replaced it with the 2200. Let me go and get the 2200 router from Festool. And it's an absolute beast. 2200 watts of power, very heavy, very powerful, very stable, but I felt that MDF top that I was originally using wasn't going to be strong enough or safe enough to support the weight and power of this router. So I decided to change the top, and I bought a butcher's block from, a butcher block cut off from the lumberyard. This is 1.5 inch thick birch. And I carefully measured it out. Obviously you want your router to be towards the back of the table, giving you space here to pass the material through. And I roughly routed it out. I used my track saw to cut the original insert, finished the corners off with a jigsaw, and then use a rabbiting bit in the router to cut the various rabbets here, and then refined it with a chisel and a router plane to really dial in the accuracy. So with the plate, just a couple of pitfalls. At the back here, you'll see there are two different levels. You sort of got to have it resting on one or the other. It's not, and I go for the bottom one, so I leave a little clearance under the top one. It's easier to level it off the bottom one. I also like to ensure that my plate is a hair proud, maybe 0.5 millimeter proud of the surrounding here, so that this is the reference surface for the material and not here. That's the way I like it. The other thing is you've got to make sure there are these little knobs here that rotate in the table, in the Festool table. I just notched out my insert here to allow them to sit properly. That's it. The table itself just has a very simple oil finish. Actually, I use the Surfix, the Festool Surfix system. And it works great. It's a little bigger than the CMS table, obviously. The Festool CMS table is the size of this router plate, plus maybe an inch or so. This one gives me much more stability. One other thing I did is obviously, workshops, my workshop is not the biggest. I also made this cover to sit on top of it so that I can continue to use the table as a sort of finishing surface, assembly table, when I'm not using it as a router table, which frankly is most of the time. So that's pretty useful. Now, just one thing of note, Peter Parfitt has got an excellent video on YouTube, you can search for it, on how to set up the OF2200 for use in the CMS table. It's very comprehensive. I'm not going to go through it all, but there are one or two things which he omits to mention, and I'm going to show you those now. So I've got my 2200 router in place on the plate, and I just want to mention a couple of extra things. Peter Parfitt has a wonderful video, very comprehensive video, about how to mount the 2200 router onto the CMS plate. So I'm not going to go through, I'm not going to repeat everything he says. His video is all there on YouTube. There's a couple of things though. There is a metal key here which is for use with the 1400 and 1010 routers. Now my CMS table came with this already in place. It actually screws in under here. That is not for use with the 2200, so you need to take that out. And the other thing is my column was misaligned. My column was aligned correctly for the 1400 and 1010 routers, but you need to loosen the hex key, rotate it a little bit in order to get it into place so that it fits well over the 2200 column. So there's a couple of things that Peter didn't mention in his video, and I just store the metal key here. So bear that in mind. But anyway, that's it. That's the router in place, and hopefully it should work very well for many years to come. Thanks for watching.